Can I curse on this? No, maybe I shouldn't. My parents might be watching.
So be able to be whimsical with it.
Absolutely. A lot of people are so serious about their art or so self-critical of their art that they are not finding any sense of whimsy in it and really thinking of it as a mountain to climb and a boulder to push through.
I'm that person.
Am I audible? Do I sound like you can hear me clearly? Why can't you see me?
I can't see you too well, but I can hear you.
Wave your hand. Yes, I see you move. It worked. Nobody moved. Nobody moved from wherever they are. Everybody, all of you are in the right place.
Welcome to Stories with Shastri. Today's episode has taken 1 hour of testing and about 19 test recordings because I don't know what happened. Something happened somewhere. Some got the spot. But anyway, we have Luv Mahtani on board. Luv has returned to the podcast. Luv was here earlier, and the last time he was here, we discussed all things indie. So for those of you who missed that one, Luv Mahtani is a musician who has been performing for over a decade. He has a couple of songs out, for example, A Calendar to Get By, which released a few years ago. You can find it on Spotify. I think on YouTube also, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
And yeah, beyond that, Luv is a certified ukulele teacher based in Pune. He was one of the first people to actually introduce the city to the uke. And what started out as lessons given from a friend's apartment eventually evolved into a community of artists and collaborators across the city. And I've been to some of Luv's ukulele events, and I can vouch that they're very inspiring in the way he fosters community building. The activities at Ukulele with Luv range from workshops, regular classes, and the newly formed Pune Uke Club. It is a community of students and music enthusiasts gathering for weekly jams, whether in person or online. And it's quite fun because you can, you watch them playing and then you sing along, and it's a very dreamy, sweet vibe. The last time Luv was here, like I said, we spoke about all things indie and independent music, or, what the scene was like, specifically locally. This time what we decided to talk about has a lot to do with what's been up in our lives since. Before we get into that, hi Luv, welcome back. So what have you been up to in the past 5 years since we last spoke?
Wow, that's...
I mean, for the podcast, we've spoken otherwise.
That still feels like a loaded question. It feels like, wow, what hasn't happened in the last 5 years? I mean, 5 years ago when we first recorded this, we were in the middle of a pandemic doing this as was this an Instagram live recording that went up as the podcast back then?
Yes, I wanted to start with Instagram live, and I was very certain that I wanted it to be a podcast. So that's how it started. So the first 30 episodes were Instagram live stream, which is why the quality was not that great. But
we all remember how everyone was on Instagram live trying to connect with each other. I think Zoom only became popular a few months after that, but still people were interested in going on Instagram live and connecting with their friends, their audiences, and just trying to stay alive and relevant, I guess. But that whole...
I was trying to stay relevant.
I think we're all trying to stay alive and relevant. As creators, as people who are in the creative field, it became so easy. It became so easy to connect to people that we like, that we follow, that we find some kind of entertainment and escape through, because they were also making themselves available on social media, on platforms where you could find them. And it was
a lot more accessible.
Exactly. And it also got a lot more easy to forget everything. I do not want to connect with anyone right now. I'm quite depressed with the state of the world. So I will just I will fully disconnect and, be with my family or be with someone who makes me feel safe. And my God, my heart goes out to anyone who was possibly braving through the pandemic and that one full year till we could even find that opportunity to travel and go back home or something and spend that whole year maybe isolated alone because maybe they live on their own for their jobs in another city. Difficult to go back home and quarantine with your parents, so they'll just stay where they are. And I don't know if you are already living alone, disconnected from friends and family, and not interested in trying to live a life on the internet. Don't know how that time went for them because I was fully plugged in. Everything and anything I could do on social media, on Zoom, and connect through maybe my YouTube channel or through even WhatsApp groups to keep my students and my community engaged. I, pulled out all stops and actually was really happy the kind of global community it created and so many people I connected with over the world, who I guess wouldn't have found me if we weren't all stuck in this same position of only being able to find each other through the internet.
Yeah,
So
I
that-
pulled out, I
Talk
pulled
to me.
out all stops too. I reinstalled Snapchat.
Yeah, we were that bored. We were that.
No, I wasn't. I mean, I find it very disrespectful to one's own mind when one says that they're bored. I have not been bored since 2014.
You are so right. This happened with me 2 days ago, this particular conversation where someone said, oh, so I just called my friend, like, hey, I'm bored, like, let's just chat. I'm like, that's the only time you remember to call a friend is if you're bored. Like,
Yeah.
I will call a friend because I want to connect with them, not because I'm bored. Like, I have a lot of things I could do to fill my time with to entertain myself. And as you said, I've also not been bored in a long time. I'll just find something to do. I'll crochet. I'll listen to some music. I'll try
So
to.
much to do.
Exactly. I will only talk to someone when I want to talk to them. That's why I don't call my friends that often because I'm not calling out of boredom. I'm calling out of a clear intention in wanting to reconnect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I remember when my cousin, my brother, he's come up in almost every episode I have recorded so far, which is very interesting. But I remember he had once called me saying that he's bored and he was at 10 years old or something. And I was like, it's not the world's job to entertain you.
Exactly. There's
They
enough
choose to
entertainment to find.
entertain you. I mean, if they do their thing and you just get entertained, that's how it works. It's not that they're here for you or for your wins. But I hope that learning has, reached where it had to. But yeah, 2020 was a very interesting time. I mean, I was very privileged to have a roof over my head and, access to food and access to healthcare more than anything else. And it sort of also helped me, the place where I live, where I moved, I absolutely disliked it from the bottom of my heart for about a good 10 years, 10, 11 years by that time. And that was a time where I was like, oh shit, I need to, live in my room. And I might as well make it a space I like. Because earlier I used to just not care. And it showed in my space. And now my space is very different. You know what it's like now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, it was a very interesting process because I ended up decluttering about, I think, 15 years of my life. And things that I had not touched or, not gotten rid of. But I also created a lot. Like I created this podcast, which stemmed, funnily, out of procrastination. And irony. It was a love child of procrastination and irony. But I realized that how much joy creating, brought me where it was creating for the sake of creating and not for the sake of selling. Right. Did you see a difference in that when it came to you and your creative processes?
I believe so. I mean, I did not end up creating musically as much as I would have liked to when we had all of that free time because I somehow just pivoted in wanting to reach out to people and trying to find some semblance of community and connection through social media or through online resources because I am glad that I did not resist the pandemic for too long, and I guess about a month or month and a half of waiting it out and seeing if the world will open back up, and realizing that this is probably going to take a very long time.
Yeah.
Pivoted to taking Zoom classes, and I was literally, this laptop was on my bed. I did not have a proper mic. I did not have any kind of a mic system like this. Oh, sorry, a proper webcam or a mic system like this.
I remember the day you got your webcam.
Exactly. Very low quality 320p plus just whatever internal mic from the laptop. And the 3 students that I still had around who were interested and willing to try continuing their course with my ukulele classes in an online setting. And I thought, hey, this is not great, but it is better than nothing. Let's try to upgrade what I can so it can be a better experience for my students, and start to promote that I have online classes starting soon. Anyone from around the world can join in, and let's see where it goes. And who knew that really one of my biggest career peaks of the last 8 years of teaching the ukulele would have happened in the middle of a pandemic, where I found dozens of students from different countries, and of course including Pune and cities in India as well. And then also finding ways to make online performances, Zoom performances, Instagram live performances of ukulele players and artists, and my own students who'd like to connect and share their music with each other would really rocket launch the Instagram page, a separate Instagram page that I made with ukulele with love in mind. I was operating out of and sharing whatever I was doing in my ukulele journey as a teacher and as a performer on one page, but I decided to create a website and a second Instagram page where I'd create more content or more specified content to my teaching and what's happening in the community. And this page was literally started off maybe 4 months before the pandemic. So once I started to post more often, I had the time to, and the only source to share about my work through social media at this point, that I started to get regular and collaborating with others, doing the kind of collaborations where I record a video, someone else records a video, and then we edit it together as one duet performance. And so many people who found me through my friends that I collaborated with, and vice versa. And that page just grew and really blew up in the pandemic era only. I don't know if it would have if I had started like earlier, if I had started after the pandemic. So the kind of online visibility that I got by it was really surprising, and I'm just grateful I kept going and didn't be like, no, I will wait an entire year till things open back up again and do what I know, which is live events and live classes. And this is not for me. No, I had to pivot, and I'm glad I did.
It's that's interesting, because it not only that time I think opened up a lot of avenues, because I saw what you were doing with Ukulele with Love, and but also I feel like pivoting because you have to generates a sense of or paves way for a sense of resilience and adaptability that one has as an individual, but also as a creator, right? And yeah, it's a very interesting trajectory that people have had. So for the purpose of this conversation, I would like to tap into what you've been creating and how has the process changed. Could we start with talking about what are you creating right now, or what have you been creating lately, and how is it different from what you were doing, say, pre-pandemic?
Oh, well, 2 things happened after the pandemic that I'm just very proud of, that I got into and found a new passion in. One was related to music, but not particularly what I was always doing with the ukulele or with my teaching or community building. I became part of and just became, as I say, a wheel in the clock rather than being the one actually keeping time. I just became part of the machine in joining a choir, which a good friend of mine was part of years ago, and I attended a couple of her concerts and always thought that I will maybe audition for and apply to be part of it in the future. And I felt like something was missing after the pandemic kind of subsided and people were going back out there again. I thought it might be an interesting idea if I, try to contact them and see if I could give it a shot if they will give me a shot. And how serendipitous it was that I called the choir director, Miss Farida, and if anyone from Pune recognizes that name. And I called her the day before they were having their first rehearsal for the new cycle of practices they were doing for their next concert. And she said, just show up tomorrow and we'll see how it goes. And 3 years in now, never looked back, since 2022 till now. And this is our third concert we're working towards, which is in 2 weeks. So very excited and very happy that I, am creating in a way where I'm part of another musical community effort, but one that I get to learn from rather than teach to.
Yeah, it's a new experience, especially when you're doing something with other people versus by yourself. I realize that there's a stark difference in the process. I mean, one, it doesn't take a rocket science to realize that there's a stark difference in the process, but I mean, what I mean is that I for one have realized that when I'm creating and the way I go about it, it is very different when I'm the only one involved versus when there's another person involved. I feel like when there's another person involved, I somewhat have a sense of urgency, even though that's a very far-fetched idea, considering that I took a few years to put up some of my podcast episodes. But like, for example, a project that I was working on, which will hopefully be out very soon, which you were also a part of. I took about 7 years to finally start finishing it. Right. So, and that was a very, it was a very interesting process because it was something that I learned about myself, that I work differently when I'm creating versus when I'm creating with someone or creating for someone or creating for something.
I get you.
Right. So what is something that you have learned in these past 5 years?
Interesting. I mean, a lot of learnings have happened, Sangha. You tell me in what regard, when it comes to work, when it comes to creating, when it comes to personal life? Creating. I think I have started to give, can I curse on this?
Yeah.
No, maybe I shouldn't. My parents might be watching. I learned to give less of a damn. I hope that doesn't need to be flagged.
Yeah. Less of a hoot.
Less of a hoot. Thank you very much. Yeah, I was going to use a very strong word, but never mind.
I don't know what it is.
Well.
Less of a duck. Okay.
Yes, basically.
Less of a fudge.
Yes, less of a fudge. Yes, absolutely. Oh my God, I'm at that pre-diabetic age. I should get tested. But yes, give less of a fudge about what will it mean if I put this out there? Will this be received well? If people care to even listen to it, will they enjoy it? Will they have a certain opinion of my work and of me? And just all of those related anxieties. It doesn't mean that I've gone ahead and shared a lot of the work that I've been, like you said, 7 years it took you to just start finishing a project. There's still videos from events of mine or the people from the community that I never got back to editing, to really put it all out there on my channels, because it just feels like it takes a lot of work to go through footage. You know that firsthand. A lot of the songs that I wrote that never saw the light of day because I just did not feel like I was ready to or able enough to do a decent even demo recording of them worth putting on SoundCloud, let alone professionally record them and put them up on Spotify and other streaming platforms. But the one thing I'm happy for is that I wrote a song that, 2022, wrote a song with my friend Radhika that was so well received on social media that we decided to professionally record it and put it up on streaming platforms. And it did really well. And I'm very happy that we have something that we've put out there that came from our hearts and, connected with other folks as well. So that was one of those things where it really felt nice to do this with someone and not do it alone. So we always had each other's support in doing this and putting this song out there. And also not being so self-critical that, we just wrote this in like an hour at a cafe. It's not our it's not our best moment as songwriters. It's not our most, it's not the most important thing we want to say through our music, but it does not matter as long as it still connects with people and makes somewhat of a difference. I can't believe the amount of people who messaged us when people heard that song and told us, how it helped them in some way or the other.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I learned, that, you don't judge yourself so much, don't give as much of a fudge, and just go out there and be a little vulnerable and show people what your art has to say, what your art has to give to them. And even if there's one taker, at least someone took it, right? At least someone was impacted by it, and that's a win.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is one. What has surprised you about this change? And I mean, in terms of how has the process of changing evolved? I mean, creating change. How has the process of creating change? And what has surprised you about this evolution?
So I feel like I'm still trying to explore what I want to do musically. I have again started to, like, it's a cycle every year. At some point, my brain just wakes up or my heart just wakes up and decides, why am I not just trying to aim towards and work towards and slowly inch towards producing a couple of these songs and putting them out there. I co-wrote the song that I put out with Radhika and played the ukulele on it, but it wasn't something that I sang for myself. Radhika was the one singing it. A lot of the lyrical ideas came from her. I had some of lyrical input in there, but it was mostly compositional. And I was like, okay, but my story as said by me, sung by me, and which is just, produced by me solo, has not come out there. No one's really heard it, unless it's people who've heard it at any open mics and live performances. Some people know some of the songs that I have out there, and they keep telling me that I should do something about them. I have not.
That best, I just want to say.
Yes, thank you. And I am not saying that now I've fully found a rhythm in which I have been successful at reaching at a certain point of getting that done. So how has the creating changed? Sadly, not much has changed. I'm still stuck in many ways, but you're finding me in this, like, let this be a time capsule, this particular episode, which hopefully when we do another follow-up episode, I will have by then changed this particular aspect.
Yeah.
Have at least something out there which I can be proud of and call my own. Like, oh yeah, this is completely written, sung, produced by me, and glad at least someone, at least it's out there, even if on just YouTube or SoundCloud, and at least some of my friends and family have heard it. Would be amazing if more than that hear it too. I'm just very happy that I did not restrict myself and have not only made music not made music the only thing in my life, that I keep toiling towards, I guess. Or keep breaking my head over whenever I don't even have anything to give to it, or that it has nothing to give to me. There have been phases, I think we all, with some kind of creative pursuit, feel like I have nothing left to give to this creative pursuit. There's nothing for me. Like, should I pivot? Should I try something else? And I picked up crochet. I am just so happy that I met a friend at a flea market. I made a friend at a flea market who was selling his crochet items, and I asked him if he would teach me because I was always interested. And when he did, we literally did a barter. I taught him a few ukulele chords. He taught me a few crochet stitches, and YouTube then took over, and I started teaching myself through there. And haven't looked back. It's been 2 years since, and I realized that I think I just needed a different non-musical creative pursuit that I could jump into, obsess over, and make my personality for a while.
I know I'm the proud recipient of a lot of the crochet experiments, and I have some coming up also.
Yes.
On the way.
Yes. Oh yeah. I have an update for you on that too. You'll find out.
Yeah.
But, but understanding.
Sorry.
Yes, of course, Tushar, aka Snuggle Ghost. Do follow Snuggle Ghost if you're hearing this and would like to know about them. Love the workshops that Tushar has put together for people to be introduced to the art of crochet, and also the community that he created through a crochet club that would get together every weekend and just learn from each other, be inspired by each other, chat, have some coffee, chill, everything. It's been a while since we've got together and done this. I really hope that this post monsoon, whatever weird climate change weather we're in, that we can start meeting up again often. And yeah, I think just creating something with your hands and just that satisfaction of, oh wow, I made that, and wow, it came out decently. Let it be through painting, knitting, crochet, embroidery, ceramics and pottery. I think that really has a way to calm your mind and make you feel just a little bit more confident in yourself and a little more proud of yourself, that you're capable of something outside of what is your daily vocation, outside of what it is that you've spent so many years on trying to improve or perfect. You could be good at something else too, and you still have it in you to learn and get good at something new.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to I have a few follow-up questions on what you just said, but I'm going to take them step by step. You had mentioned something about how your identity, like making a new art form your identity, right? But along the same lines, I want to know, is there an evolution in how you identify yourself as somebody who creates? So when I say that, I mean, do you just identify as somebody, like primarily identify as let's say a musician or a performer, or do you primarily identify as someone who loves to crochet, or do you just identify as somebody who just loves creating?
That's a brilliant question, because this thought kind of came across in my mind maybe a year or two ago, where I decided, and maybe I even had this conversation with you way back when. I remember that garden where we were sitting on the grass and you took pictures of me. I think I may have had that little epiphany around then, or may have even shared this with you, that there was a long time in the beginning of my teaching career where I would just go out there, and if people ask me what do, I would say, well, I teach the ukulele, but that but was always there. The but would follow, oh, but I also do this. I also manage events. I also work at this art studio space, pre-pandemic, my job history. And that but did not drop till possibly the pandemic, where I was doing so well in just online classes and online community building, where I could really own it and say, yeah, I teach music, I teach the ukulele, full stop. And that was my personality and that was my identity for the longest time. There are still people who accidentally call me Ukulele because they think ukulele with love. And ukulele is now my first name and love is my surname, I guess, with being the middle name.
Right. But has the but changed and evolved into an and?
Now it has completely transformed in just me taking up something like crochet, me being interested in art, me being interested in creating content on social media also, which possibly doesn't always have to be about music or fiber arts. I also started food walks last year, in which I was very interested in the food culture in the area that I live, which is Camp in Pune, and wanted to see if I could explore making a community effort or a community experience through food, in which I could guide people from spot to spot and dish to dish, or like food item to food item, I guess, that people could consume and, find some kind of connection with each other and also with the history of this part of town that I live in. That also felt like in itself a creative artistic pursuit, doing that. I can't wait to do another food walk. I just hope these erratic rains stop. I will hopefully start in the coming month.
Yeah, I do thank you for just one day I don't remember, I think it was a sofa event or something. We were all, a bunch of friends and us, we were all together, and it's one of my favorite memories on NG Road, is that you had decided that we will all go, and you had suggested it, and everyone agreed that we'll all go to Mona Food.
And this was after my choir concert, and Prithvi and some other friends were there too, remember?
Yeah, but was Nida also there? I think Nida was there for this one. Because there were some girls around, because the thing is, the reason I know that is because the restroom was a little far away and we were all a little concerned about the state. Yeah. So I think Nits was around for that.
It could have been a separate Mona Food experience we had. I remember this after my choir concert and Prithvi being there in a suit, remember?
Yeah,
He
because
was
you
there
went
with
to
a friend.
school.
Yes. Of course, ex-head boy.
Of course. No,
Shout out to Prithvi Raj.
we love you, Prithvi. But
So,
yeah, no, I remember when we went and we just all we did was eat banging chole bhature.
absolutely. And my suggestion was for everyone to try Chinese bhel, which was a 50-50, but I just find it so funny that there's something called Chinese bhel at a restaurant like food.
So the other day I went to, I get so annoyed with the city sometimes. I love the place, but I saw misal pizza and misal bunny chow.
Please, no, that will never be part of my food walks. I'm sorry.
I just saw it in my day. My day just got ruined. Like there's some food combinations, I don't know. Maybe we should do a whole other episode on food combinations. I'm going to make note of it.
Absolutely. The appreciation I had for food now in the last year of just doing the kind of research that I did of the places that I like to take my friends and my audiences who would be interested in being part of this too. I don't come from a culinary background. I'll just make it very clear that food also and understanding food as an art and science is something that I don't think I have enough experience in. But what I have experience is being a lifelong resident of Camp Pune, cantonment area in Pune. I'm going to each and every eatery that I can think of that I can suggest to others to try as well. And so much personal history that is attached to it that I love to share in my food walks, which I hope is the reason why people like to come to it.
Yeah. I got this before we go back to what we were talking about. I just food thing because I feel like once we start talking about music, we do not stop, and then we would completely forget. But I got this lovely book called Feasts and Fasts. It's in front of me right now. And it's basically about a history of food in India. It's been on my wish list, the book. So I have a wish list of books. And it's been on my wish list since 2019. I got it last month.
Wow.
And it's basically, it traces how ingredients have evolved, how recipes have evolved in India through the ancient ages till date. And it's also, there's a very interesting section. It's also got recipes in it. And it's got a section. I haven't started reading it. I've just browsed through it and skimmed through it. But there's this one about like food of the Indian diaspora. So there's recipes of the people and how their food, Indians whose food has evolved according to the countries they've settled in, like whether it's Guyana or Trinidad. And it's very interesting. The culinary expertise I may not have, but there's a lot of affection for it and a lot of nuance that I've grown to. I've learned how to respect. I've had a lot of chefs in my life, and it's been very interesting. Coming back.
I'm sorry. You might have to edit this and put it back to the end of the answer I was giving them because we tangentiated.
That's all right. I can just keep it. You tell.
But yeah, like the ultimate conclusion I came to, I remember this was something that was on my mind. I think I had probably restarted the artistry for the third time and again gave up because it got too heavy and too real in the middle. But I realized that I really want to aim towards calling myself an artist.
Yeah.
Somehow it just feels so like delusional, or it feels so wrong to just own up to the fact, or like how dare you say you're an artist? You see how many people are better than you at this particular art that you're interested in, or how many people are as the Gen Alpha would say, aura farming on the daily and giving themselves that kind of a creative, artistic tag that you have so much to achieve before you can proudly call yourself that or confidently call yourself that. And what I came to realize is that I am interested in a creative artistic pursuit, and that will keep changing, and I want to try new things for the rest of my life. I've reached 30 now. I'm not dead yet, which means that if I do live till 60, 70, 80, I have decades worth of time to do more things, learn more things, and try new things as well. And in that, yes, I believe calling myself a teacher, musician, community music person, events manager, all of the things that I've done and tried and still do to this point, I think at the very core of it, I just want to consider myself an artist or a creative person who just wants to explore what the world of art and the world of just the what is it I'm trying to say? I have it. What's that common thread that really gets us together, through art? I want to try and explore that thread, or listen, keep pulling on that thread, I guess.
I get that. Something I've learned was moving the goalpost about what qualifies my art as something that is good or something that is nice. Is not going to help my art, and neither is it going to help me. But I'm still, somewhere I'm still blocked by the fear that, like, even with that project, right, which took so long, it was that once it's out in the world, it's not mine anymore. Right? And I'm like, am I ready to, let this little birdling fly out of the nest or not? But it's also, but something that has also helped be aware of this fear that I have is that I've learned that comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh, always.
Right? So when you look at someone, there is so much more to, to what they're creating than to say, oh, I don't like what they're doing because I'm not as good. Or, oh, why am I not good enough? Right? If you're really inspired by it, be better, do better. And the artist way actually really helped with that. It somehow helped me. I haven't finished it yet, but it changed how I looked at things like anger, and it's really made quite a big difference in my life. Those 2 little pages really made such a huge difference. But
it's interesting, right? Someone who wrote something 30 years ago, which is just laying bare there on a piece of paper in a book, could change the rest of your life. All you do is just give it a shot and read it.
Yeah, that's true. But that brings me back to talking about creating for the sake of creating versus creating to sell, right? Because do you see that there is a difference in how you approach creating something, like in terms of like how I said that I have a difference in how, if I'm creating it for it to sell, I function far more mechanically, right? Because then I have like a timeline in my head or whatever, and it's far more. You have to make sure the deadlines are met and whatnot. But also, do you see the change that has come? Is there a change that has come to you with that regard?
I believe so. I think there's in any artist that, so many artists that we have friends with, that we have common connections with. You observe their journey, you observe your own journey, not to compare, but just to see like who is where in their life, and what they've put out there, let it be a blog post or a song or a short film. I think in the beginning of our artistic journeys, let's say late teens to early 20s, we just want to absorb it all. A lot of the work we put out there is a little raw, it's a little derivative, it's a little maybe even problematic because we don't know better. And then comes that particular phase right after where you're like, okay, I have understood this is my niche that I want to stick to and really try to be known for. And then comes that thing after, which is, okay, I've been doing this for long enough. Do I stay with this because I'm good at it, because people know me for it? Or do I have the liberty or the courage to pivot and try something new? In that particular area of, can I try something new? Am I done with what I've been doing for years and try something else? You then figure like, okay, but what is going to pay my bills? And that's where I feel like, oh, some of the things that I do, I really cannot stop because that's the only source of stable income that I know. Not the only one that is there, but the one that I know. If
Or
I
are
can take
comfortable
this,
with.
or that I'm comfortable with. And if I were to stop all of this to give the time and energy to try something new, will it really work out or not? So creating to sell, I know that a big chunk of my day goes in trying to figure out how I can create to sell, and very little that I'm giving the time to in creating for myself or creating for my own fulfillment or to learn something from. It's been a while since I've even finished a song, and I would really like to finish a song that really makes me go like, wow, I really learned something about myself through.
We have the song we were co-writing.
Yes, oh my God, what was that even about? Please remind me.
Misaligned.
Misaligned, of course. I also need to get in touch with my dentist again. Thank you.
I have a good one. I just
Let the audience put two and two together. What the hell did that mean?
But so the thing is, the reason I asked about the difference between creating for the sake of creating, or even putting out what you're creating for the sake of creating, for that matter, is I have seen this with a lot of artists that even ones we know, and also with myself a lot more, is that I was primarily known as somebody who would commercially take photos. Only my inner circle or a select few knew that I actually started writing commercially more than before I started taking photos. And I remember my Instagram feed, and it, you've seen it. It used to be very proper, and it was very, everything was planned. Like it was very manicured.
Everyone was trying to do the 3 pictures in the same color scheme, like
Yeah,
a little
whatever. Yeah.
planning the exhibits. Yeah, I've done that too. I get it.
Yeah, and I strictly only put photos of my work on my page. And I had another account for everything else, but for my main page, that was what was happening. And I remember the reason I kept at it is because one day I just had somebody randomly message me and book me for a gig and for a shoot. And then I realized, oh, my Instagram is something that I can get work out of. Right?
Yep.
So I kept at it for a few years after that. And then finally I think I was also in a phase where I didn't want to show my face too much. And now I'm far more comfortable with who I am, but I also realized that I was like, it's my page. I can put whatever I want on it. Right? So now I think if you go, like, you see my page, I've got a bunch of like just photos of me or like things I've created, which I'm not making money out of, but I think it was also somewhere I was like, I think it's time for me to share that there is a lot to me beyond just photography. Yeah. There is still a lot to me which I don't put out on my page. Like, I don't put out too much about my research, or I don't put up too much about a lot of that. But like, for example, painting or like my poetry, like I randomly put it up out of nowhere. So very few people will actually see it while they're scrolling. But then I realized that there's still such a distance. Like, I'll still put up some photos that I used to take. But it's not something that is my primary goal now.
Right.
Like, I found I don't know where, but this contentment and this assuredness in what I'm putting out is something that I like.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not that my audience will like it or not. Like, I think somewhere that security has seeped in, and I'm really glad for it, because I think 5 years ago that would not have been there. The only time I remember breaking my feed was because of this podcast. And that's how it started. But Speaking of breaks, let's go to blocks, right? You were talking about feeling stuck. So, what are the blocks like right now creatively, and how do you work with them?
Very interesting. The first thing that comes to my mind is a writing block. I don't think I haven't tried writing. I know I picked up the ukulele and tried to work on an idea I had while I was just in my garden, which is down the road. Not my garden, but the garden that I call my own. It has a duck pond, by the way. It's lovely.
We've still not gone there yet.
Please, you're more than welcome. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, whatever
It's
days.
easy for me to walk again on the streets because of the rains. Yeah.
But yeah, any of the days in a week that I can manage to wake up early enough to go for a morning walk and a little exercise, it has really changed my life in the last year. Someone told me go touch some grass, and I did, and they were right. It made a lot of difference. I feel like a lot better. And I was just walking and hearing a song. I really liked its vibe. I put it off and I just started singing in that way or in that particular groove and came up with a separate song idea and just put some words to it, and it sounded perfect in my head. And I thought, hey, finally I've come across a little seedling of a song idea that I feel excited enough to sit down and put pen to paper and try to finish. Have I written even one line after those 2 lines that I wrote? No. But I'm just happy that something came to me just by stroke of luck, by inspiration, and with nature in my vicinity, that I know that if I kept at it, hopefully I will get around to finishing it. I've had songs that took me months to finish. I've had a song that I wrote in less than a week. I'm waiting for the day I can write a song in an hour. Shout out to Taylor Swift, I guess. And
I will decide whether or not I want to act that out.
Shout out to anyone who can write fast. I think everyone can write fast. It just depends on if it comes out well enough or not. Who's to decide though? But yeah.
Maybe that's what I like because she writes swiftly.
So it's in her name.
But I need to relax on the dad jokes.
Writing block is a big one right now. I really need to just sit down and let my thoughts flow. I think writing block comes from a space of not letting yourself think. There's so many ways, as they call it in these days, raw dogging it, in which you're really not trying to go through an entire, let's say, bus journey, a flight, or just sitting on your bed without the distraction of algorithm, a streaming podcast, or a song or a movie playing in the background.
I would please listen to a podcast in the background, specifically this podcast.
Absolutely. What do you think I do when I crochet? I'd rather listen to a podcast because I don't want to look up and look at a screen to watch a TV show or something. Unless it's a show I've seen and I can just hear it like a podcast again. But that idea of actually letting yourself be bored, letting yourself actually have a thought and not kind of silence it with, something playing in the background to allow yourself to not think, and just being okay with being with yourself so that something can come out of it. Escaping your dark thoughts is really something that we all have experience in, and maybe some even have a diploma and masters in. But whenever I've actually let myself articulate what I'm feeling is when I've been able to finish a song. Otherwise, it just does not happen. And maybe that's the block, just trying to allow myself to feel.
I get that. It used to happen to me earlier. I remember Bhavjeet, Bhavjeet, for context, is someone who started a beautiful literary movement in Pune called Speak. And hi Bhavjeet, we love you. I think we should just do that every time we mention someone. We just say hi, we love you. But so I remember this one time I was telling her that a lot of the poetry that I was writing was just dark, and I didn't want it to be dark. I wanted to write something nice. Like, I would always think that when I was in a sad place, only that's when I can create. Like, for example, I have a guitar in my room, which is a beautiful rosewood guitar. And I only touch it when I'm sad. You will only hear me play it when I'm sad. And when I'm saying sad, I mean sad and like in the depths of sad.
I get it.
And this year was the first time I tried to play something without that. Right? Subhav, I remember I told him that, oh, can you give me a writing prompt? And he gave me a writing prompt for unicorn in a stable or something like that. I ended the poem with the stable catching fire. And it was just a very interesting interesting poem. But I hope that transforms. There was this thing I saw. One thing I really appreciate about Veer Das, who's probably my favorite Indian comedian. My favorite Indian comedian who does comedy in English in particular. Is that I think it was Hemingway's Habit, which he picked up, where he said that, Veer Das says that he wakes up every morning and he writes for an hour. Come what may. Right? Even the artist way, with the morning pages where she's
morning pages. I wish I had the discipline to. Oh my God, so many mornings I wake up and I'm like, I have nothing to say. I can't write.
Yeah, and then that she's written that if you have nothing to say, I have nothing to write, and keep saying it till you fill the page. And
punishment to my own senses, but okay.
No, but I tried it, but it actually helped. Now, I mean, I don't do morning pages. I just write something whenever I feel like it. But yeah, I think there are different ways, and it's kind of like finding the right shoe. And I hope you find that one way that works for you with writing. Coming to seeking connection, right? You'd mentioned about how in 2020, you actively were more inclined towards seeking connection with your community, your friends, your co-creators, and whatnot. Do you think that it is necessary for one to be able to create? It's necessary for them to seek connection or to have some connection in their lives with someone else?
I believe so. I don't think art can be made in a void. Like, it has to be inspired by something. And yes, a lot of people can be inspired by the idea of people and not real people in their lives. And a lot of people can be inspired by concepts and philosophies, and again, not by the actual relationships that they keep. But I think a lot of us relate to the kind of art which directly speaks to us of the human connection that is described through it. Right? I mean, why is Mona Lisa one of the most famous paintings in the world? It is about this dynamic between the artist Da Vinci and this lady Mona Lisa, and what transpired in this painting being created and how many years it took for it to be out there. That was a connection that he sought with her, and that created something that everyone could relate to, and people still talk about centuries later. So, is it important? No, but does it create like more long-lasting, impactful, and memorable art? I believe so. Yeah.
I mean, a counter argument to that would be Starry Night. Starry Night was created while Van Gogh was in isolation.
That's interesting, but don't you think that a lot of that art really was trying to connect to someone? Like, I feel like there's so much that I've heard of Van Gogh's life Van Gogh, sorry. And his life where he was so isolated, but it's not like he wanted that isolation. He was still trying to find connection with the people in his life, his family, I guess. Maybe a brother, I guess, that he was trying to still stay in touch with, if I'm not wrong.
Was it Theo?
Was that then? Yeah. I remember watching, what is the name of the hand-painted Van Gogh movie?
I have not watched that yet. I wanted to watch it, but I saw the trailer.
So glad I saw it in the theaters. It was incredible. I'm trying to remember the name. It was something Vincent. Something Vincent.
Vincent is his name.
Yes, so something Vincent. That something is not what is in the title, but wait, I can just look it up maybe. Loving Vincent.
Theo. Yeah.
Yeah, and Theo.
That's right.
Of course.
I don't know why I
But only
don't.
the art was created also with an intention to connect with someone real in their lives. It's not like all that art was made only for them to see it, but they would hope that someone would see it at some point.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't necessarily agree with that. But okay.
Yeah. It boils down to the philosophy of do you live your life for yourself or for others, and not in a selfish or a selfless way, but is your life worthy without being in service to others,
or are you creating for yourself or are you creating for someone else?
Exactly. And also, are you only finding self-worth in being of service to others, or like are you of enough value or have enough self-worth without the validation of people?
Or you can just engage in service for yourself. Right.
I was a friend today. I said I don't think my life has as much meaning if I'm not trying to do something for others around me. I just feel a lot more fulfilled when I know I've been of help to someone else. Might not be completely right in thinking that way, but I also know that I'm not really going to change that about myself anytime soon.
I get that. Speaking about changing, and you mentioned doing better earlier, right? What is something you have unlearned in this time period? Or what is something that you've had to unlearn over time?
I think a lot of unlearning and a lot of life lessons happen more in the personal life front, which hopefully will, come back to feed the art and the creation of it as well in my life. But I think having the courage to speak up, I guess, and that could possibly be applied anywhere and everywhere. Personal life, relationships, wanting to speak up in a professional sense to let your worth know to the people who are trying to not only have a relationship with you on a personal front, but also in a professional front. And not being so scared to say no, or not being scared to ruffle some feathers and offend some people if it's for the overall betterment of your relationship with them or just your general peace of mind.
Right. When you spoke about having impact on others and supporting others or being of service to others, one thing I do know about you is that you are someone who actively engages with artists around you, especially if they are your friends. You make an effort to either gift them art, or you create art for them, or you buy their art. Right? So you are the prototype of what every artist needs, that one friend who does this. And then for me, you are that person. And I want to understand, how is it different, right? How has buying and supporting art from your friends different now than what it was earlier? For example, there were these little stickers. You remember the day I was cleaning my room and I sent you a photo of an old postcard you got me. I found an envelope that our friend Shastri, hi Shastri, we love you, that she, I had bought from her. And then I was looking at this and I was like, if it was not Shastri, if it was someone else, would I still buy this? Right? Or would I still buy stickers as a present? Right. So
one of those things, what do you feel about yourself as a patron of art? There's a lot of art that I've bought at flea markets, events, merch stalls outside concerts, which I believe has been because I have a connection to the artist who's selling them and not because I just simply appreciated the art, so I went ahead and bought it. I think the ratio of it is easily 70-30. 70% of art I've bought is to support. No, sorry. 70% of art I've bought is because I have a connection to the artist. Not always just I'm buying it for the sake of supporting them. Sometimes it could be something I really liked and I'm more convinced to or motivated to buy it because it will also help support my friend and show them that, I like certain pieces of their work, or all of their work for that matter also. The other 30% is one of those like undeniably pretty, undeniably interesting, undeniably useful an object or a piece of work that it might be, but that I knew I had to put my money down to take it, even if I don't know who the artist is who made it. Also, it's a kind of question: do we really ask other artists or not? We ourselves creating art. We are caught up in our own stuff. We are trying to sell our own work to others. And the kind of echo chamber that it creates in just selling art to other artists in your network. Sometimes you possibly are not even that financially stable to keep buying others' art when no one's buying yours, or maybe they are not coming back to buy your art, or maybe there's a price difference between your art and theirs. And not everyone can afford you, or you can't afford everyone. Who's the patron then if it's not artists supporting artists? Like, who are the non-artists who are really going out of their way to go and buy, work from a local artist, going to flea markets and really, be feeling motivated and encouraged to go ahead and do that? There are some people out there, God bless them. But I feel like more people should be encouraged to go out there and buy local and support local artists. There's such a this to it. There's such a dearth these days. That's the word, I believe.
Yeah.
Of people who would just go out there and support this way. But I do my best. If I can afford it, I would like to go out there and buy work, and hopefully and possibly, preferably, buy a friend, and when possible, maybe from someone else. I just mentioned to you that's the Kari Haat, the handicraft. Market that will be happening next week onwards. I don't think any of my friends are selling there, but I will still go for the sake of appreciating all the items that people have on sale, and I'll hopefully end up buying something or the other.
Is there, how has consuming art, not consuming, how has, what is the change that you've seen in how people support art today?
That's I have way too many thoughts on that. I have way too many thoughts on that, and not a lot of them are positive.
Well, go for it. Let's bullet point this.
The fact that a lot of people have understood that the game is, or the currency is attention more than actual following or actual monetary support, but like if it gets enough views, enough eyeballs, and enough shares, that it's relevant, or it's going to have a bigger impact. So many people out there getting millions of views on the kind of art that they create, let it be music, let it be content that they're creating to show the paintings that they've made. Nowadays, just a static image of a painting is really not going to get as much attention as someone recording themselves painting it. And oh my God, so much better for them if they're an attractive person painting on screen. That's a whole other thing to get into. The pretty privilege and the attraction market out there. Yeah, I know, right? I don't even know if attraction market is a term. Let's coin it.
Let this be the first place this was heard. I'm noting it down. I'm serious.
Who do you want to call on board for the episode called Pretty Privilege is what I want to know. And why is it not me?
I never said it's not you.
Okay.
Did that word come? Did that term, that sentence come out of my mouth saying, "Oh, love, it won't be you"?
Okay.
No, it is. Maybe I can try do this in another format. I want to produce at some point. Maybe not in this one, but I think we should be able to make this happen at some point in the future. I get that, but do you think there's this need to stand out constantly?
Oh yes, sorry. Yeah, I had a couple of things on that bullet point, and just like how people are consuming as well, including also, of course, the competitiveness of posting every day. I know people who literally do a day 37 of me posting something, something. So you look at my art, or that you, till this post goes viral and whatnot, and how you try to play the algorithm and try to be as frequent in your sharing of work. Who cares about quality control? Let's just keep posting till something, throw crap at the wall till something sticks.
Yeah, I want to intensify my question a little bit with how has the process of consuming art changed for the audience versus the artist. Is that with the artist, do you think that there is this constant need to stand out against the saturation that is there of artists? Because everybody, like for example, with DJs, everyone's a DJ, right? Or
DJ, thank God.
pardon?
I'm not a DJ, thank God, but I wouldn't mind trying to get into electronic production just as an art form, and not because I want to go out to parties and make everyone dance.
Yeah. So how is that? Is there a particular let me identify this. So is there a constant need to stand out in the saturation and algorithm, and does it affect creating for the fun of it?
I think a lot of people can contest it by saying that, and it's one of those things, you're lucky if you have already in some way found a way to become a niche through who you are or what kind of art you are producing. I know I would have to do a lot more to stand out as a guitar playing creator or guitar playing teacher than the way I just created a niche for myself by just taking the ukulele out, which not a lot of people were doing 8-9 years ago. I realized I do not have as much skill in something that there's a lot of people out there trying to fight for attention for. So I will try to get attention out of doing something people are not doing. So a lot of what got people interested in my work was not something that I had to put too much of blood, sweat, and tears in. I'm not saying that I got lucky and I've done nothing to get where I have. I just know that I've also played it a little bit smart in trying to find a niche that would work for me and that I could try and flourish in. So a lot of people who are out there possibly, as I love using this word, toiling away at trying to achieve the highest echelons of a certain art form or a certain niche that they are trying to be known for. I feel like you want to try just adding some element, if not completely pivot into some other art form, some element of it that helps you stand out, that you don't feel like you have to really change the very essence of you to be able to incorporate into your work so that, you could offer something new to the world. Think of your art as a consumer. Would you look at your art and think that it is completely arrested your attention and got you to give any much of a damn in at least watching it for 30 seconds? I'm sorry, all of the consumption examples that I have and the thought process I have is related to social media. I really need to get my head out of my phone and figure out how are people consuming art outside of social media. Are there people even consuming art outside of social media in our generation and younger? I'm not even sure.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is exactly the next section.
Exactly.
So it is, yeah, I'm like, I've seen a difference between artists who flood the algorithm versus the ones who put out something once a year, right? Like there are some artists I know who are so brilliant, but they will not put out their work as often. Right? Because a lot of them think, oh, I don't need to keep, screaming out top of buildings saying that, look at my art. Or, but then there are some people who are like, oh, I need to reach the masses. I need them to see me. So then they constantly, like you said, they're putting up a post every day and whatnot. Do you think that, so it's a two-part question, which is that how have the artists around you actually, who have evolved according to you in the past 5 years? Because I've seen a very stark change in the same people, and I'm not saying in what they're creating, but I'm talking about the evolution in their approach towards their art and how they treat it. Right, because I do for one believe that you must treat your art either as, treat it as sacrosanct, but you should also be able to be whimsical with it.
Absolutely. A lot of people are so serious about their art or so self-critical of their art that they are not finding any sense of whimsy in it and really thinking of it as a mountain to climb and a boulder to push through.
I'm that person. I have a book I started writing in 2010. I have not finished it yet. Because I'm like, what if nobody reads it? That's my fear.
Now that is coming from a point of view of creating for the audience and not creating for yourself, right? Do you want to shift the perspective on trying to finish it for yourself and not for the fact of will anyone read it or not? Or do you think that you started this with the intention of people wanting to read it? It has some amount of commercial appeal to it, the plot of this story.
When I started it, I was a teenager. So for me, it had more to do with knowing what my first book was going to be about. Then it eventually became, oh no, this has to also sell so that I can make something out of it so that people know what the book is. And I was like, what if not a person reads it, and what's worse, and if not read it, what if they don't like it? And that's something I think with my writing specifically this book. With my poetry, I'm kind of okay if people like it, don't like it. But with the book, it's been holding me back for so long. And as you know, I'm handwriting the entire book.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
They say that the need for writing is a disease. You have to just expel it. And maybe you're not that sick right now.
Yeah,
maybe I'm not that sick right now.
The funny part is I have been writing. I have not been writing for the book, but I have been writing. And in fact, I've been writing a lot more recently than I have in the past 5 years. Right? Or 5 years ago. So, do you think that we actually want to buy art as the audience, right? Or we want to support art when everything today is generated?
Oh my God. I don't know what I was going to say about AI, but
I like how you
knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. Exactly. That's what I was about to say. Let's face it. I do not want to, in the future, come back to this episode and cringe at the fact that I, completely denounce AI and the generation of artificial intelligence getting into our... Yes,
I want to ostracize it.
I don't know how in my, most genuine, sorry, let me rephrase that. I don't know how I will come back to this and not cringe at the fact that I was dishonest if I say I fully denounce it, because using AI to either write some descriptions or a caption or even a mock-up of a poster that I went out to maybe then design on Canva or another app, but AI helped me come up with an idea that I could use to then create it, has not been something that I have dabbled in. So I've not asked AI to do my job, but I've asked it to assist me for sure.
Yeah, I remember, I think, when we met about the end of 23, I think. And we're talking about making a spreadsheet or asking your LLM to make you a spreadsheet. And I looked at you with so much disappointment. I was like, what do you mean? But
I can't lie, because I don't know if I will fully stop. There have been many advantages to also just have AI as someone now that we think of AI as a person and as our therapist. As our therapist, let me ask ChatGPT as though it's someone that I actually have on my contact list.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. But I think they're come on, people were unhappy about the use of calculators in math class because it got children to not do basic arithmetic. What did they do then? They made the math harder so that using the calculator was just thought of as a tool and not the answer to your test. That's what they said in an interview I saw with some educators as well, saying that, well, if AI is part of it and it's becoming increasingly harder to detect if this was AI generated essay or an AI generated project, or was it actually written by the student, is okay. We will allow you to use AI. We will change the parameters of what the assignment is so that you are challenged on a higher level.
Yeah, like one of the things AI is doing, which is really messing with researchers, is that I saw it online. I haven't actually gone through it, but the use of the M dash.
Oh my God, the amount of times that if I have asked ChatGPT to write something, that I've removed the M dashes because it is such a telling sign that this is AI generated. Who uses
But
M
that's the
dashes
thing. But I
in
use
general
M
writing?
dashes while writing.
It's so funny, people who do actually genuinely like using M dashes and were taught how to use it. I was never taught how to use it correctly. Now feel like they have to remove it so that it doesn't look AI generated.
It's so funny because I was writing this research paper. I wasn't creating it. It was a research paper. And the topic was disinformation and AI. And I have written it and I have sent it to a journal. And they're telling me, madam, you have used AI. And I was like, I don't touch AI. I'm against AI. Like, read what I've written. There is no AI. They're like, we found AI. And I was like, I've written this with my hand. I mean, I've typed it with my hand. But yeah, it's very, I'm very strict about it personally. And it trickles into my professional space also, specifically with the creative process. Maybe I don't know how I will be about administrative or logistical convenience with it, but I'm trying to circumvent that right now with a few things that I'm working with. But yeah, when it comes to the creative process, I absolutely am not okay with AI. And there are times where there are things that I was using that I did not realize were AI. And the moment you realize it, I'm like, oh no, I can't use that now. Right.
What do you mean? Like what?
For example, earlier my podcasts, I used to use this app, which basically was a transcriber. Right. But now they have integrated it so heavily that they use AI to transcribe it.
What are you saying?
Yeah. So now I can't use that anymore.
But how was it? How did it transcribe before AI? Was there some
text to speech? I mean, speech to text.
Speech to text. I've always thought how speech to text works. Isn't that in itself also a coded form of intelligence?
I would believe that there are levels to it. I'm not the expert on that aspect of it, but yes, there are levels to it. It is not. It is not artificial intelligence in the sense where it can suggest something back to you.
Right.
Right. So it is a very rudimentary tool by that logic. So text to speech is one of the earliest ways of that were created for accessibility. Right. So even your phone has text to speech or speech to text for people who are disabled. So no, it is not artificial intelligence. I would disagree. Maybe I'm wrong. I have to check that. But I don't consider that as artificial intelligence. For example, Grammarly. Right. When I used Grammarly for the first time, it was not AI.
Yeah, makes sense.
Then they embraced it, and now I haven't used Grammarly since I've discovered that it's AI. I can't use it. And it's my hard limit. I recently walked out of a project that I had agreed to because I didn't realize that, and I was not told that there would be AI used in it. And it was quite an important one with somebody important in my life. And I had to say, no, I'm sorry. We had a second meeting after I agreed, and I was like, you did not tell me this. I'm not going to be a part of this. And yeah, I think it really. I want to do a whole AI episode, and
now that I think about it, speech to text or text to speech is at the end of the day converting something that it is given. It is not creating new.
It's not no. So there's a difference in terms of in artificial intelligence. What we use with ChatGPT, for example, is an LLM, which is a large language model. And then there's something else that comes under that called generative AI, which is what is picking up everywhere now, and it's something I studied a few years ago. You know what I studied, so because of that, I chose to study that. I'll come to Gen AI, but text to speech, as far as I know, is not AI. But let me just be careful and check. No, yeah, it is more traditional.
Right.
Modern text to speech is AI, while early systems were robotic. So there is a difference between something being robotic versus something being AI. It's like R2D2 versus. I'm trying to find. R2D2 versus what's the name of the killer robot girl who's crazy about that robot doll?
Megan?
Must be, yeah.
Yeah, Megan the doll, the recent movie, right?
Yeah, I saw that. It makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah. That, Annabelle, Tatya Vinchu, never cared for any of them. Chucky.
Yeah, so early text to speech, I was right, is not AI. Because it's a very rudimentary approach, because it's all about just input and then out. Right? And it is the output that is dependent on the input, but the output is not, there is no generation happening from that. Right now, my problem with LLMs is a very different problem. It is that there is generation happening. And a lot more.
I think a lot of it can be used as a tool, but the fact that people are creating end products with it, selling it, and putting others out of jobs is,
Yeah, so that brings me to my question on this. Is generative AI? So, for example, generative AI is when you put up a prompt and you ask it to create a picture. Like, for example, the Studio Ghibli movement, which I thought was awful. Do you think that the onset of generative AI, do you think it's bastardizing art?
I think a lot of what has happened in the last couple of decades, where people just keep saying that technology has made us dumber, we have just reached a new level of us not having the kind of freedom to think outside the box, or the encouragement. Freedom kya hai? What is freedom at this point? The encouragement to go outside the box to create something new. People are not really looking at competing with each other and coming up with the most unique idea. They're competing with each other to just have any idea that will sell and get them to survive.
Yeah. And
life, in this economy, as they say, life really has become so hard to live. Who has the time to think about the higher aspects of Maslow's pyramid, which is self-actualization and art, when we're just stuck on the bottom level of physical needs? Roti kapda makan. And I'm like, okay, if I still want to try and create art and be creative in this world, I'll just find the most common denominator that will get me to still feed my family. So much of art right now that is created for the sake of being created is created by people who have a safety net and have somewhat amount of a means to live, where they are not then, fighting to survive. Which is really sad. I mean, I have all the respect for people who are already going through 10 different issues in their lives in just trying to physically survive, who will still put in the time and, as I said, have that sickness that they need to expel to still create something meaningful. I'm not saying that, art is only for the rich, but it does become harder, and very few people out there are putting their need for survival aside and still creating art for the sake of, their own spiritual upliftment, and maybe even their duty towards humanity, if they take it that seriously, if they want to take it that seriously.
I get that, when you said attention is currency and about how people are struggling to stay afloat. Do you think like short form, for example, right, with your reels and your shorts and whatnot, is it helping? I mean, there are two sides to look at it. Is it helping one discover more artists faster, or is it making the process very transactional, where you're like, oh, I don't like this one thing you put, so I'm not going to look at you further, and then it doesn't come back to you, but maybe you'll actually like the artist, you've just not given them enough time.
I've seen this comment on many creators' posts. This is my first impression of you, because they put some kind of cringe content out there, or something that was not very politically correct, or not very easy to digest. Like, this is my first impression of you because my algorithm fed me this, and I don't know why it would do that. Never mind. I don't think they go onto their pages unless they like to hate watch content. They'll probably not see that person's stuff again. But so much of art right now, like, just the last couple of generations of create art for the sake of getting a reaction. Somehow, reaction is more important than appreciation. So, and yeah, a lot of people will probably remember a negative reaction they had to something much longer than a positive one.
I mean, that's how the algorithm functions.
True.
How do you...
What is that called? Rage bait? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also, there was this documentary on social media about how the algorithm picks up on negative responses, and that's how they get more viral, which is why hate speech is far more dominant.
Exactly. That's why hate speech is not being, moderated as much on certain social media, as you know.
It is if it gets reported. Depends on which platform it is. And how, because that also, with hate speech, there is also the dialogue and the discourse on censorship that comes in. How do you see the process of creating changing 5 years from now?
Ooh.
Especially with yourself, how do you think what you're creating and how you're creating it, how do you want to see it evolve 5 years from now?
I think being comfortably into my mid-30s in the next 5 years, I would really like to, and with so much of today's conversation being from the lens of how it is consumed, created, or shared with the world through social media, I hope social media is not a leading player in people wanting to engage with art. I'd really like to move away from it and be known for stuff that I do that people can discover, even if it is a slower medium, as you say, you can discover more things faster. I hope that even if I'm discovered slower, I am discovered and remembered, and that it is more special because I was discovered from a space that was out there, in a venue, in a community center, in a poster on a wall somewhere, than just, someone's algorithm. And that people kind of realize that they have really exhausted this means of connecting with each other, which really got me where I am because of the pandemic and everyone connecting with each other through these online sources. I am not going to disregard where it played a major role in my career actually accelerating, or my career actually progressing further as a creator, as a musician, and as a teacher. But I really hope people realize that there's a world outside of their screens, and that they can, funny, I say this while I talk to you on a screen, but outside of their screens, where they can really find human connection in person, in actually looking, breathing the same air and touching each other as well, if it's appropriate and if it's allowed from both ends. But, and that, I make an impact that, I don't know, that goes beyond my life. Years ago, I realized that whatever I want to do with my art, or why I even feel like I have a purpose on this earth and something to live for, is to be remembered for something I did right.
Yeah. I understand that. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode, and I'm really glad that you were a part of it. Thank you so much for joining us. And joining me and having this chat with me. I was looking forward to knowing, talking about this in depth, because we've spoken about this in passing personally. but talking about how creating has changed and how it's evolved. I hope you come back on the podcast, and I hope it doesn't take another 5 years.
I hope so too. But it was a lovely, and thank you so much for having me again, Sangha. This was such a lovely 5 years ago, before, and 5 years after where we are. And I love this little follow-up conversation that we had.
Yeah, maybe we can do another one like that, or maybe we can do something. Maybe we could do the pretty privileged one.
Let's live a little more life and get back to this. Not too late, but also not too soon. I really want to have something new to say, or some big life revelations to happen to share with you.
I think you have something new to say within the next minute. So at all points. So everybody has something to say.
I absolutely hope so, for sure. But also, I hope we get to do this again in person, that we get to record a podcast episode with each other, and not 7 kilometers apart.
I hope so too. I mean, right now, with the way the podcast is going, I think I want to keep it in this format where it's online, because there are a lot of factors involved, and it was a very conscious choice of doing this, like doing it like this. But yeah, thank you for coming, and I hope that we get to see more of what you create. I hope I get to see you perform at some point.
Thank you. Yeah, working towards it, as you know.
Yeah, maybe we should finish our song and perform it.
Yes. Oh my God, for sure. Sure.